So I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can make lessons within Nearpod. So the first way, first of all, what you want to do is go to nearpod.com and sign in with your Google credentials. And it should bring you to your library, which looks like this. If it doesn't, just click on this little house up here and it will take you to your library. Um, your library, if you haven't used Nearpod before, none of this will be here. All that you'll see is this box right here to start creating. These are the lessons that I've used, so they're in my main library, and then you can create folders to organize your lessons. You can create also up here. You can do a lesson in Google Slides, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can do a lesson right within Nearpod from scratch. And you can also, this is where you create folders. You can also do subplans here. Okay, so the first way that I want to talk about is using a lesson that's already been created in Nearpod. Some are created by Nearpod, some are created by other people, teachers that make their lessons public. So there's lots in here that you can look at. You can search by topic, you can narrow down by grades, and then resource types. So depending on what you're looking for, you can come in here. You can also use the search bar. So maybe I want to look for life science. So I can just type that in and it'll bring up all the life science lessons that have already been made. I could narrow that down by grade. So let's say I'm looking for something for 7th grade. I'm going to choose this scientific method. I can click on that. It'll let me preview it. And then if it's something that I think might be useful for me, I can just add it to my library. So I can scroll through it here. I can see if it's something. These are all totally adaptable. You can scroll through here. It'll tell you what you need. Give essential questions, learning objectives, and then start in with the lesson. So this looks like something that I might want to tailor to my own needs. So all I have to do is click here, add to my library, and then it says lesson has been successfully added. So I can go back to my library, and I should see it right at the top here. There it is. All right, and then if I want to edit this, I just click on edit. It's going to tell me I need to make a copy. So I'll make a copy, and then it's going to open up with all the different slides that are in here, and I can edit that any way I like. So here they are. So maybe once I go through this, maybe I don't need this in my slides, so I can just click and delete that. Maybe I want to change the question in this open-ended question. So I can go in, I can change the question, I can add a reference here. So I could add a picture or a video, or I could add audio where I talk and the students can listen. You can add something where the students can respond. All you have to do is click here to enable student audio recording so they could respond to you with their voice instead of having to type a response. You can also add a timer. Okay, so, and once you're done there, you just click save. So there's lots of things you can do within there. You can add different activities. So I'm going to show you that now. So once you do that, click Save Changes, so it'll save, and then you can make it a live lesson or a student-paced lesson. And we'll go over that in a minute. I want to show you the other ways you can create lessons within Nearpod. So that's one. You can pick one that's already been done and then tailor it any way you like for your students. The other way is to create a lesson within Nearpod from scratch. So you would just click on Lesson in Nearpod. And then here's where you can add a slide. So you could add a slide here. And then you have to tell it what kind of content you want to add. Do you want to add content here, which they have different options. You can add just a blank slide. You can, if you have a subscription to Flocabulary, you can add a Flocabulary video. You could do some 3D images. They have some physics simulations you can add. The field trips are great. You can add, if you click on this, you can add different field trip options. So maybe I want to go to Santorini. That's where I want to go. So it's put the field trip in there. You can go in and you can edit that if you want. You can also add web content. So if there's a website that you want your students to visit while they're doing their Nearpod, you can add web content here. All you do is click and add the URL. And you can also add an activity, and this is where I think it gets really fun and interesting. You can do time to climb, which I'll do a separate video on what that is, but that basically is a game where they answer questions, and whoever answers them most correctly and quickest gets to the top of the mountain first. So that's a fun game. You can give them open-ended questions, matching pairs, you can do quizzes. You can add, this is new, you can add Flipgrid in here, a draw it, where they can draw their responses and it gets submitted, a collaboration board where they all can kind of put responses and collaborate in there. There's a poll where you can ask questions, fill in the blanks, and a memory test. So there's a lot of great activities to make it really interactive that you can add. The other thing you can do within here is upload files from your computer or from Drive, which is great. So if you already have a PDF or a PowerPoint or a slides that you want to just upload and add activities to, you can upload it here and it'll bring it in as individual slides, and you can add activities from there. You can also search Google Images from here, which is a safe search. So it's only going to bring up images that are okay and free to use within your presentation. And so you could add pictures from here. All right, so then when you're done, all you want to do is click Create, and it will create this new, it's going to ask you what title you want to give it, and you can give a description, put the grades, and then the subject so that it's all labeled for you. Okay, and then it's going to save it into your library. All right, now the next way, and I think my favorite way, this is a newer edition where you can create lessons within Google Slides. And so you just have to link to your Google account. And it's going to bring up a slides for you. So a couple great things about this is that you can make them more visually appealing in here. Nearpod, when you create within Nearpod, there's not a lot of options to make it pretty. Within Google Slides, you have everything you can do within Google Slides. So you can make these really nice slides, and you can add your Nearpod activities right here within Google Slides. Another great thing about this is that you can collaborate then. So you could share this and you could be working together with someone on a slides and then save it to Nearpod, and then you both have it to use within Nearpod. So at this point, you would need to click Add-ons, and I already have it, so I would click Open Nearpod. But if you don't have it yet, you would click right here, Get Add-ons, and then you would want to just add the Nearpod add-on, which is right here. So you would click this, click Install, and then you'll have it. But once you have it, then you just go to Add-ons and Nearpod and open Nearpod. Okay, and then it's going to bring all your activities over here that you can add. And it gives you this little tutorial right when you first come in. Every time it gives you this little slide tutorial. So I could, let's see, if I want to add a field trip in here, I can click field trip. And I'm going to go back to, well, let me go to the Golden Gate Bridge this time. I'm going to go to Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, and then it says if I want to edit this slide, I can click Edit Slide right over here. And it's going to show me my slide, and I can add a title. I can say whatever I want to say up here. You can see that students can kind of explore around here. Okay, I'm done. Okay, and there's my field trip. So it'll be there when you do the present. And then maybe I just want to add a slide, like a regular slide. Let's put that up there. You can move them around. There's your field trip. Maybe you want to add a flip grid or a vocabulary video or a fill in the blanks. It'll give you the option to put a sentence in here, and then you can take certain words out and make it a fill in the blank. Okay, so you can make, and you can also make regular slides. If I wanted to just add, insert a picture or whatever, it's just a regular slides, and then you have the options over here to do special Nearpod activities. So then when if you're done, then you go save and go to Nearpod. And then it'll bring your lesson right in here at the top. And then you can also go back and edit it if you want from here. Okay, so there it is. There's my lesson. Now, in order to, you can show your lessons, all your lessons the same. You can show them in two different ways. One is a live lesson. If you click on live lesson, that's where you and your students are looking at it together. And what your students see, it's going to give you a code. Your students just go to nearpod.com, they put in this code, and then they will see on their screen what's showing on your screen. So everything, they can't do anything until you move the screen for them. You can also share this Nearpod in an email through social media. You can use a link to give to them. You can also share it within Google Classroom, which is great. You can just put this code in Google Classroom and have them look at it on their own, and through some other different ways. So this is my lesson here. The students, once they log in, would see exactly what I'm seeing on my screen. So at this point, they would be able to look around within the field trip. Okay, so then you can leave it and look at it again later. You could start a new session. The other way that you can do it is a student paste. And this is great because you can just load this up into Google Classroom, and here's their link for their student paste. They have 29 days to complete it, and you could just put it in Google Classroom and it will share the code, and then they can go in and complete the Nearpod on their own. And it's a great way to communicate information to your students. And I think that is all that I will go over with this video.